Good evening, good morning, and good night. Welcome to Inappropriate Radio. It's your host, Tashana. Let's get into this. So, hi guys. I hope all is well. Tonight we are going to be discussing tungsten, also known as wolfram, on the periodic table with an atomic number of 74. Now, just to keep this thing a little bit more organized, since we have discussed a transitional metal for 2 days in a row, I figured that we'll just stay in the transitional metals, just to kind of keep it organized, and that way we'll be a little bit more familiar with what we're doing. I was going to do it the other way around, but let's just try to stay organized, okay? So it is the W, because it's called wolfram, on the periodic table, and the atomic number is 74, not to be confused with the atomic weight. We'll get into all of that. Now, since we were talking about the periodic table, I thought it was important to just kind of get a little bit more familiar, right? Since we're studying. So I said, okay, what is the strongest element? Not the heaviest, not the hardest, the strongest, the most powerful, right? And that's what popped up, okay? So this is how we even ended up here, tungsten. And then it's just crazy that it's a transition metal, so I figure we'll just stay in this area for a while. Now what I really found to be most important is that this particular element has, not only is it the most powerful or the strongest metal in element, right? Because all of these are elements, right? Each of them, but not all of them are metals. Some of them are gases, right? And there's different types of metals, but of all of the metals, even within the different classes, tungsten or wolfram is the strongest. Again, not the heaviest, not the hardest, right? Now this has the highest melting point of all the metals, and it's at about 6100, and then the boiling point is at about 10,000 and something Fahrenheit, which is actually approximately in the same ballpark as the surface of the sun. So this is where I started, trying to relate it to spirituality and just trying to make sense of it all. Now, we like to relay the body and the spirit and the galaxy to one another and make it all make sense. So the fact that this particular element is the number one, not found in free form, right? Meaning we have never discovered it in its natural state, pure state. They've only found this in the form of a compound or mixed with another element, right? So that's first. Crazy, right? Yes, it's in the air, in the atmosphere, but only from human production. So when we utilize it for like light bulbs or to mix it with steel, when it's alloyed with other metals to make it stronger, that is pretty much the only time it's found. Even when it's found in the Earth's crust, in places like China, Bolivia, even in America, mainly in places that are in the Southwest, is found as a compound, right? Or in traces mixed with other elements. So this is where I started getting interested, because it's not even the most rare, right? It's not even like that's the case. And it's not even that it's the strongest, right? Because a diamond can cut through it. But the fact that it is the most powerful right, of all of the elements. And it's not even that dense. It's not found in its free form, and it has the highest melting point. I think I found probably one of the most interesting elements so far, right? Since we've been going into this, mainly because of what it brought me to as far as biology goes, right? So they don't have much information on it as far as the human body goes, right? They have a lot of different studies going on, nothing really concrete. But then when you go over to different bacterias, it's crazy. Different archaea and bacteria are resistant. Now this is where it started getting interesting, because there are tons of metals that bacteria are resistant to, right? We've even talked about how copper is one of them so far. So that's not the interesting part. The thing is, this archaea, right, is basically a group of microorganisms that are similar to but still distinct from bacteria, right? Archaea are found in living environments, right? Like high pressures, salt concentrations, things like that. Okay? So these things eat metals, but they don't eat this wolfram. Okay, they eat iron, they eat sulfur, they eat carbon dioxide, hydrogen, all these different toxic elements, but they don't eat the wolfram. Now, why this is crazy is because this archaea, it produces gas, okay, produces methane and sulfur, okay, hydrogen sulfide. So this is where it started getting interesting, and this is obviously where we started bringing in the other, factors and just making it all come together. Now, remember, we've been talking about the supernovae. That's probably going to keep coming up since majority of the elements are in the other realms, right? With this, it's considered the same as on Earth. It's not particularly found in the stars at any point, but it is found in the air when the supernovae occurs, or when the star combustion. Basically, when the star dies and all the star dust is all over the place, this is when the wolfram is found. It's not particularly found like in the potassium large stars, right, as it grows, or copper. It's not found in, like diamonds, after, or silver, like after the star bursts. It's only found in the form of dust. So again, these elements are really important, and it's cheap, it's inexpensive. Yes, it's dense, and it's it's a transition metal, and it's highly compared to gold, but it's a lot cheaper because it's more abundant, right, than gold. So it's not as expensive. But as far as value is concerned, with it being the element that can take the most heat, I mean, not even lava can burn this thing, right? So we have to just look at that. With it being so rare, right? And with it being even as rare in the galaxy, I think this particular element deserves a lot more research and attention, and especially because it was added to the periodic table a lot later than majority of the other elements. So as we phase through the periodic table, we really need to start opening up our minds and really just start paying attention to the clues that the creator leaves behind, because although it is a transition metal and it's in this class with probably some of the more popular metals, it's more rare and it is the strongest. So, and this may not even be interesting to you, but it's interesting to me. And when trying to relate it to spirituality, it's one of those things that's a mystery, and that is what's making it more spiritual, right? Because it is abundant enough to be known, but it's not abundant enough to be found in free form anywhere, right? And then China, they mine it. They have 75% of the world's largest amount of wolfram. But I think the point here is to, like I said, investigate, because this is one of those elements that's not found in its rare form, only in the form of a compound. So with that knowledge, I just started doing a little more research and just trying to find out, what really this tungsten is. And it was used to make bullets and missiles, to do metal evaporation work, and to manufacture paints and tubes for TVs, and to make seals for glass and metals. But it's still weak. It's like still a brittle metal, right? On impact, like if you punch it, you can like break it. So that's why this is like really crazy, because it's alloyed. It's used to alloy with other metals to make it stronger. So again, I believe this particular element, and what's making it even more interesting is that I sat here for like 2 hours just like reading, trying to figure out how to make this spiritual connection. And I'm like, I can't do it today. I can't. Like, the only thing I can come up with is that as rare as it is on Earth, it is in the galaxy. I mean, it's only found in the air as a byproduct, like as it is on Earth. So I think that is it. As things are in the ethers, they are in the earth. It's just one of those things that makes like an actual reflection. It's like as above, so below. Like what's up there is down here. I think that is the overall point here with this particular element. I mean, out of the 100 and I think 118 elements, and out of the 90 to 95 metals, depending on who you ask, this is the strongest one. And we know that enough. We know enough about it to know that it is the most powerful, and it has the highest melting and boiling point of all the metals. But we don't have enough of it to have it in its pure form. And it's that same exact way in the galaxy. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. This is just one of those things that's a mystery. But yeah, this is a transition metal. So as we start to phase through, like I said, we're going to try to stick to the groups and periods, right? We're going to try to stay in these areas, and we're going to go into how to read it, and what's all on the table, the atomic weight, the symbol, the atomic number, what they all mean, protons, electrons. This is not a chemistry or a biology course, so I didn't really want to do that. So that's why I didn't go into that. I just kind of wanted to go into the elements, but we're going to get more organized, right? But I'm going to end it here. I do love y'all. I hope all is well. I hope y'all are drinking your water, eating your fruit and your vegetables, and sipping on your own tea, because what is free? And I hope y'all are enjoying y'all's weekend. All right, now, stay there.